I get it when you're looking at a robot vacuum that also mops. The first thing you worry about is whether you'll end up spending a lot of money on something that just sits in the corner while your floor stays dirty. I was talking with a friend the other day who's been battling pet hair and a kitchen that never seems to stay clean, and she asked me straight up, is this thing actually worth it, or am I just buying another gadget that I'll have to babysit? I've spent the last few weeks reading through the Amazon reviews, digging into forums, and even watching a handful of teardown videos just to see what the day-to-day experience looks like. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that stood out to me about the roborock Qrevo CurvX is how it tries to solve the two biggest complaints people have with robot vacuums: getting stuck on cords or uneven thresholds, and dealing with a mop that drips water all over the place. The brand calls it a zero-tangling design, which basically means the main brush is enclosed in a way that hair and fibers don't wrap around it like they do on older models. In real life, that translates to fewer trips to the kitchen to cut out tangled hair and a brush that keeps its suction power for longer stretches. I saw several reviewers mention they've been using it in a house with two long-haired cats and a shag rug without the brush choking up, which is a pretty solid indicator that the design holds up under the kind of wear you'd expect in a busy home. Another thing people are always skeptical about is the navigation system. The CurvX advertises reactive AI obstacle recognition, and from what I could piece together, the robot uses a combination of LiDAR scanning and AI-driven image processing to identify things like shoes, cords, or even a spilled cereal bowl. In practice, that means the robot doesn't just bump into the same obstacle over and over, it learns to go around it or, in some cases, pause and wait for you to move the item. In the reviews I read, users in multi-room apartments said the robot managed to clean under low coffee tables and around narrow chair legs without repeatedly hitting the same spot. That kind of adaptability is a step up from the older grid-based mapping where you'd have to set up virtual walls manually. Setup is where many people bail, so I paid close attention to that part. Out of the box, you have the docking station, the robot, a mop pad, a water tank, and a small remote. You first have to install the roborock app, which walks you through connecting the robot to Wi-Fi, calibrating the map, and setting up cleaning schedules. The app is fairly intuitive. The biggest hiccup I saw people mention was that the initial scan can take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes depending on the size of the house. That's pretty normal for a high-end robot, but it does mean you need to have a clear floor during that time. Once the map is saved, you can label rooms, set no-go zones, and even tell the robot to focus on high-traffic areas like the kitchen. If you're the type who likes everything set and forget, the CurvX does a decent job of learning your routine after a few cycles. Now, let's talk about the mop function because that's where a lot of robot vacuums stumble. The CurvX has an integrated hot water system that fills the mop pad, wipes the floor, and then dries itself in the dock. The auto hot water mop washing and drying sounds fancy, but the key question is, does it actually reduce the amount of manual work? In practice, users say the robot can mop a standard 250 square foot kitchen in about 45 minutes, and the mop pad comes out relatively dry, which means you're not left with a soggy floor waiting for you to mop again. The water tank holds enough for a few rooms, but if you have a larger open-plan space you'll need to refill it once or twice. That's a trade-off to consider if you were hoping for a truly hands-free mop that could cover a whole house in one go. You'll still need to top it up occasionally. Suction is another headline that gets tossed around a lot. The 22,000 pascals rating is impressive on paper, and in everyday use it does a solid job of picking up pet hair, cereal crumbs, and the occasional dust bunny on both hard floors and low-pile carpet. The robot automatically lifts the mop head when it detects carpet, which they call the AdaptiLift chassis. That means you don't waste water on a carpeted area, and you also preserve the carpet fibers from excess moisture. People who have a mix of hardwood and carpet seem to appreciate that transition. It's seamless and you don't have to manually switch modes. Where the CurvX shows its limits is in a few practical areas that aren't always obvious in the marketing copy. First, the dustbin capacity is modest. If you have